most businesses, hiring, well, it's just a line item, right? An expense on the ledger, kind of a necessary cost. But what if we told you it could actually become something else, a significant recurring source of profit? Welcome to ATS OnDemand Deep Dive Podcast. Today, we're doing exactly that. We're taking a deep dive into how you can, fundamentally transform your recruitment function, moving it from a cost center into, well, a powerful profit center. And our focus today, it's the Work Opportunity Tax Credit, or as you'll often hear it pronounced, WOTC, and specifically its incredible synergy with modern applicant tracking systems, especially cutting-edge solutions like ATS OnDemand.
Yeah, and our mission today really is to unpack just how much money small and medium-sized businesses are, frankly, unknowingly leaving on the table. We're talking millions in unclaimed tax credits. So we're going to walk you through how a strategic, an integrated technology solution can help you reclaim that hidden financial asset. And a big part of this, tapping into the huge talent pool of our nation's veterans.
Okay, so let's unpack this WOTC thing, the Work Opportunity Tax Credit. What exactly is it? And, for a business owner listening, why should they really care?
Right. So at its core, WOTC, or WOTC, is a federal tax incentive. It's designed specifically for employers. The goal is to encourage hiring people from certain groups who, well, often face pretty significant barriers to getting employed. Now, what's really crucial to get, financially speaking, is that it's a dollar-for-dollar tax credit.
Okay, not just a deduction.
Exactly. Huge difference. So if you earn, say, a $2,400 credit, that's $2,400 directly off your tax bill. Real cash savings. Doesn't matter what your tax bracket is. And for qualifying tax-exempt organizations, it works a bit differently. But similarly beneficial, they claim it against their share of employer payroll taxes. So still a direct financial boost.
Okay, so it's real money back.
Absolutely. And this isn't some tiny niche program either. It's substantial.
Yeah.
We're looking at around $1 billion in tax credits claimed annually across the U.S.
$1 billion.
Wow. Yeah, and something like 2 million certifications issued each year.
Yeah.
It's a major program. And it's currently authorized through the end of 2025, so there's a clear window of opportunity right now.
Okay, $1 billion, 2 million certifications. That sounds huge. But here's where it gets, well, really interesting to me. While the program is massive, the analysis consistently shows that something like 80% of all these WOTC credits are actually claimed by large corporations. So what does that mean? What's the implication for, the small and medium-sized businesses listening to us?
Well, it really highlights a pretty significant disadvantage for SMBs. See, large corporations, they've got dedicated resources. Think big tax departments, legal teams, maybe expensive, complex human capital management systems, those big software suites for HR.
Right, the infrastructure.
Exactly. They have the infrastructure to navigate all the complexity involved in WOTC. SMBs, though, usually leaner teams, right? They find the manual WOTC process just incredibly time-consuming, administratively heavy, and the result, they often just forfeit the credits. It's not usually that they don't have eligible hires. It's more what you'd call a failure of process.
A process failure. Makes sense.
And the potential they're missing out on is staggering. A single eligible hire, depending on the category, can generate up to $9,600.
$9,600 for one hire.
Potentially, yes. So imagine a small company hires just 5 qualifying veterans. That could easily translate into, say, $28,000 in direct tax savings. That's a powerful boost for any business. And, stepping beyond just the financial incentives, which are obviously compelling, hiring veterans is just a really smart business decision anyway. They bring this incredible skill set forged through service. Things like teamwork, real personal initiative, leadership under pressure, adaptability, resilience.
Skills you really want.
Absolutely. Highly transferable skills. Invaluable in pretty much any civilian workplace.
Okay, but you sometimes hear people look at the overall veteran unemployment rate, which, often looks relatively low compared to other groups, and they might think, oh, veterans don't really face barriers. But you're saying that's, well, maybe a dangerous misinterpretation. It hides the real picture.
That's exactly right. It's a dangerous oversimplification. The aggregate numbers, the averages, they can really mask a much more nuanced and sometimes troubling reality. You have to dig into the details. When you look at the granular data, the real systemic barriers for specific subgroups, they become painfully clear.
Like what? What kind of subgroups are we talking about?
Okay, so for instance, unemployment for veterans with a service-connected disability, that's around 4.1%, which is noticeably higher than the overall average, and it gets worse. If you look at female veterans with a service-connected disability, that figure was recently a staggering 9.1%.
12%. Wow.
Yeah. And even more alarming maybe is our younger veterans, those aged 18 to 24. Their unemployment rate recently spiked to an astonishing 26.9%.
27%. Goodness.
It's alarming. And even veterans with a higher disability rating, say 60% or more, they still face a 6.2% unemployment rate.
Yeah.
So these figures, they clearly show that, yes, specific groups of veterans still face really significant employment challenges that the overall numbers just don't capture.
Okay, so given these, really specific challenges that certain veteran groups face, how does the WOTC program itself actually recognize that? Does it, incentivize hiring those who need the most support?
And this is where the sort of strategic brilliance of WOTC really comes into play. It's quite elegant, actually. The program offers the highest tax credits for hiring veterans from the very same subgroups that statistically face the greatest barriers to employment.
Okay, so it lines up.
Perfectly. It's this fantastic alignment of, financial reward for the business and genuine social impact. So how it breaks down. For an employee who works at least 400 hours, the credit is 40% of their qualified wages,
Yeah.
up to a certain cap. It's 25% for those working between 120 and 399 hours. But the maximum credit values, they vary significantly by category, really reflecting that level of need.
So what are those tiers?
Right. So for a standard veteran, maybe someone receiving SNAP benefits, that's food assistance, or perhaps unemployed for 4 or 6 months, the maximum credit is $2,400. Then you have a disabled veteran who was recently discharged. That can yield up to $4,800. A long-term unemployed veteran, so someone out of work for 6 months or more, that bumps up to $5,600. But the highest credit, the really remarkable one, is $9,600. And that's for a long-term unemployed disabled veteran. So someone with a service-connected disability and who has been unemployed for at least 6 months.
Wow. $9,600. So what's really powerful here, when you lay it out like that, it visually demonstrates this conclusion. You're most highly rewarded financially for extending opportunities to those veterans who need them most.
Exactly. It's a genuine win-win situation. Good for business, good for veterans.
Okay, so the incentives are clear, they're significant, the talent pool, veterans, is undeniable, the social impact is there. Why then? Why aren't more small businesses actually claiming these credits? You mentioned that 80% go to large companies. It seems to come down to what our source called the execution gap.
That's precisely it, the execution gap. The manual WOTC application process is, well, for many small businesses, it's like a gauntlet that's almost designed for failure.
A gauntlet. Okay, break that down.
Sure. It starts with what you could call the pre-screening tightrope.
Yeah.
There's a specific IRS form, Form 8850. It has to be completed by both the applicant and the employer. And here's the kicker. Not after hiring, but on or before the actual job offer date.
Before the offer. That's a tricky timing.
Extremely tricky in a fast-paced hiring environment. That alone is a massive hurdle. Then, step 2 is the infamous 28-day cliff. Once you've hired someone, that Form 8850, plus another one, ETA Form 9061, must be submitted to the State Workforce Agency, the SWA, and it has to be within 28 calendar days of the employee's start date.
28 days. Calendar days, not business days.
Correct, calendar days. Miss that deadline by even 1 day, and you lose the entire credit. Gone. Irreversible. No appeals.
Ouch. That's brutal.
It is. And it doesn't stop there. After that hurdle, there's the ongoing burden of tracking. You have to meticulously track that employees' hours worked, remember, 120 for a partial credit, 400 for the full credit, and their qualified wages. And finally, step 4 is the final filing and record keeping, claiming the credit on a right IRS form, Form 5884, and then maintaining really detailed audit-ready records for years.
It just sounds like a lot of potential pitfalls.
It is, and it leads directly to this catalog of common and costly mistakes. By far the most common and the most catastrophic is missing that 28-day deadline. That just wipes out the credit instantly. But businesses also frequently overlook eligible employees. Maybe they just aren't familiar with all the different qualifying criteria. Then you have errors from manual data entry, inaccurate or incomplete forms. Very common. And then there's just, the administrative nightmare of poor record keeping. Lost papers, maybe corrupted spreadsheets, things like that. Or even just failing to follow up if an application gets denied initially.
Yeah, it sounds like a true administrative headache, especially for a small HR team or maybe even just the owner doing the hiring.
Yeah.
I can just picture papers flying, deadlines looming. It's a real pressure cooker. And like you said, it feels less like a people problem, like someone just wasn't careful enough, and more like a system problem. Relying on purely manual processes for something this time-sensitive, this detail-oriented, it just seems inherently designed for, well, low performance.
Exactly. And the data backs that up.
Mhm.
Industry studies consistently show that automated systems, they increase the WOTC certification rates by like 60%, 80%. It's a huge difference.
Okay, 60 to 80% increase. That's significant. So, given that manual processes clearly fall short for most SMBs, what's the path forward? What's the solution? It sounds like it's not just trying harder manually, but leveraging technology, right? You mentioned an integrated HR tech stack built on two pillars.
That's exactly right. The solution lies in modern, accessible technology working together, a synergistic, integrated stack. And the first pillar is what you call a modern recruitment engine. A prime example here is ATSOnDemand.com.
Okay, ATS OnDemand, what does that bring to the table?
So ATS OnDemand is a cloud-based applicant tracking system. It's AI-driven, and it's designed to streamline that whole recruitment lifecycle end-to-end. Key features would be things like centralized job postings, getting your jobs out to multiple boards easily, unified candidate management, finally getting rid of those tracking spreadsheets.
Amen to that.
Right. It also offers intelligent screening with knockout questions to quickly filter candidates, and even an AI-powered tool called IntelliMatch that helps rank candidates based on how well they fit the job. Plus, it automates a lot of the communication, keeping candidates in the loop.
Okay, so that's pillar one, streamlining the hiring itself. What's pillar two?
Pillar 2 is the tax credit maximization specialist. A great example here is Walton Management Services. Walton acts as what's called a third-party administrator, or TPA, and they have over 4 decades of experience focused exclusively on one thing: identifying and maximizing these point-of-hire tax credits like WOTC.
40 years just on tax credits. Okay, they probably know what they're doing.
You just say that. They handle the heavy lifting. They provide really user-friendly screening questionnaires for applicants. They complete and submit all those required federal and state forms, the 8850, the 9061. They manage all the back-and-forth communication with the state workforce agencies. They track all the application statuses. And crucially, they deliver audit-ready documentation right back to you.
Okay, so you've got the ATS streamlining hiring and the TPA handling the WOTC complexity. But you said the real magic is the integration, the synergy between them. How does that work?
Exactly. The integration is where the true transformative power lies.
Yeah.
Having them separate helps, but having them connected changes the game.
Mm-hmm.
So ATS OnDemand, for instance, explicitly lists Walton Management Services as a third-party integration partner. They're built to work together.
Okay.
And this allows for several key things. First, embedded universal screening. The WOTC eligibility screening isn't some separate step someone might forget. It's built directly into the ATS OnDemand job application process or maybe the onboarding portal. This ensures that literally every single applicant gets screened automatically. No forgetting, no separate forms to juggle.
That sounds huge right there.
It is. Then there's automated and accurate data transfer. The demographic data needed for WOTC, which the applicant provides in ATS OnDemand, is automatically and securely passed over to Walton's system using an API. This pre-populates the WOTC forms, drastically cutting down on manual entry and the errors that come with it.
Okay, so it fills out the forms automatically, basically.
Much of it, yes, reducing errors and saving time. And critically, this integration guarantees timely submission. Walton's system is designed to automatically transmit those completed documents to the correct state workforce agency the moment a hiring decision is finalized in ATS OnDemand.
So it just eliminates that 28-day cliff risk.
Completely takes it off the table.
Yeah.
No more manual tracking of that deadline. And finally, employers get access to a centralized real-time tracking dashboard provided by Walton. So you can log in anytime, see the status of your applications, track your certification rates, and even get forecasts of your expected credit value, all in one place.
Okay, so let's contrast that directly. The manual way. Lots of risks, missed deadlines, low capture rate. This integrated, automated way seems like near 100% screening, minimal admin time for your team, much higher accuracy, way lower compliance risk.
And most importantly, yeah, it maximizes the actual credit capture. We consistently see integrated systems recovering anywhere from 3 to 5 times more credits than businesses trying to manage WOTC manually.
3 to 5 times more money back. That's substantial.
Right.
Now, okay, for any practical business leader listening, these benefits sound great in theory, but, we need to see the proof. Are there real-world results? Does the data back this up?
Absolutely. And the data is, well, pretty profound. Let's look at a couple of quick case studies. First, there's the story of Royal Farms. They had a manual WOTC process, and frankly, their screening rates and eligibility capture were, quote, significantly below industry standards. They were leaving a lot of money on the table.
Okay.
So they switched. They implemented ATS OnDemand and leveraged its integration with Walton Management Services. The results, their WOTC screening completion rate, skyrocketed to 100%, every applicant screened.
Wow.
Their eligibility rate, the percentage of screened applicants who actually qualified, soared from about 15% up to 25%. And the bottom line impact, they generated an additional $500,000 in WOTC credits.
$500,000 just from fixing the process.
Just from optimizing the process with integrated technology. $500,000 straight back into their business. Then there's another quick one. Unlocking untapped potential for a large trucking company. This company hired over 600 employees every year.
Okay. Decent volume.
Right. But they had literally never even heard of the WOTC program before.
Seriously. Hiring 600 people a year and didn't know about it.
Incredible, right? Shows how easily this can be missed. So they implemented an integrated WOTC solution very similar to the ATS OnDemand plus Walton model we're talking about. In their very first year of using it, they went from $0 in WOTC credits to claiming $114,400.
Wow. From zero to over $100,000 in year one.
Just by implementing the right system. It was money just sitting there waiting to be claimed.
And these aren't just like lucky one-offs. These results seem consistent with the broader industry metrics you mentioned earlier.
That's absolutely right. These case studies perfectly illustrate the broader trends. Industry metrics consistently show automated, integrated WOTC solutions recovering, like we said, 3 to 5 times more credits than manual attempts. They boost those WOTC certification rates significantly, often by as much as 60% to 80%. And remember the social impact piece, too. It's not just about the money. One study by RAND found WOTC actually increased employment for disabled veterans by almost 2 percentage points. That translated to around 32,000 jobs back in 2007-2008 alone. And projections show that just continuing the program could support over 130,000 new jobs and generate $1.4 billion in labor income. It's impactful all around.
So when you put it all together, the logic seems, well, almost inescapable. You've got this premier talent pool, our nation's veterans. You have a really powerful federal financial incentive, the Work Opportunity Tax Credit, WOTC. You have this historically flawed manual process that stops most businesses from actually getting those credits. And now you have a proven technological solution, like the integrated power of ATS OnDemand and Walton Management Services that solves that execution gap.
Precisely. And this combination of the solution, it delivers what we like to call a trifecta of business benefits. 3 key wins. First, obviously, profit generation. It literally transforms recruitment, which was purely a cost, into a direct revenue stream. It boosts your bottom line. Simple as that.
Okay, profit. What's number 2?
Second is operational efficiency. Think of all those HR admin hours currently sunk into manually tracking, filling forms, chasing deadlines for WOTC. That gets reclaimed. Your team is freed up for more strategic, higher value tasks.
Makes sense. More efficient. And the third?
And third is risk mitigation. This automated integrated process provides basically an ironclad defense against compliance failures. No more missed 28-day deadlines. It ensures your records are accurate, complete, and audit-ready, protecting you from potential and costly IRS audits down the line.
Profit, efficiency, and risk mitigation. That's a pretty compelling trio for any business leader. So maybe the final thought for everyone listening is this. As you reflect on your own hiring process right now, how much hidden financial asset, how many WOTC dollars might be sitting there unclaimed? What opportunity are you potentially missing, both to significantly boost your company's bottom line and to make a really profound social impact by empowering our nation's veterans through meaningful employment? Based on everything we've discussed, we'd strongly recommend contacting atsondemand.com and also Walton Management Services. Get a demonstration, ask for a tailored analysis. See what the potential financial impact could be for your specific organization. Thanks for listening. See you in the next pods.